So when it comes to bee feed, you want to boost your little honey makers. A lot of people just do sugar water, which is good. 1-to-1 sugar water in the spring. Stimulate a nectar flow. Give the bees a little boost, especially if you got a package bee and they're trying to build out some frames and stuff like that. It's always nice to help them along as sort of a bee taker. What I like to do is give a little extra. So, like sugar water, probably better than nothing. A little bit extra would be some amino acids. Some amino booster I get from David Burns. He's a fun bee guy. And then just a smattering of some essential oils. And really, I think you could do just about any essential oil and it'd be good for bees in one way or another. Like thyme is used in thymol, which is a mite killer. There's eucalyptus, which is antifungal. Wintergreen apparently is maybe a little bit of a mite knockdown, depending on what you read. Research to be done on that. Lemongrass is an attractant, so it just draws them towards the feed a little bit better. And then some just crude bee protein powder, a generic brand. There's nothing real specific about any of this except maybe the amino booster. I haven't done any studies on it, just my personal opinion, personal feel is that that's a good little amino booster that finds some of the proteins that are missing from just regular feed. They did a little bit of a study, Randy Oliver, and he found like protein patties, pollen patties by themselves, never really could replace pollen. There was something missing in them. It would help bees when there was plenty of natural pollen available, but if that was all they were fed, they would still slowly die. So I feel like rather than just having that, having a little bit of an extra amino protein booster is good. Mix it all together real well. Oils don't like to mix, but mix it hard enough they get in there. And then add your 1-to-1 sugar, which in this case should be about 2 cups. And I will say my bees seem to enjoy it quite a bit. But yeah. And extra editor's note, I forgot to even talk about the whole reason why I put the protein powder in there and everything. It's because I don't really like pollen patties. I do like pollen patties, but there's some interesting studies. Yeah, that's a little jar. Ha! A jar is a jar. Well, interesting studies on how much bees actually eat pollen patties and how much of it just gets thrown away. Randy Oliver, once again, did some fun little studies on that. And, they can only really eat them if they're kind of wet. If they dry out too much, they won't do anything with them. And you have to take apart the 2 boxes and put it right in between where your brood's at. And that's a little bit of a difficult thing to do. Whereas, if you just mix a little bit of pollen, I do just a teaspoon of it in a jar like that. Then when the bees drink that, they will be getting some of their protein powder, which is just a little bit more direct method than a pollen patty. But there you go.